You can't see our heads. Here, I'll hunker down. Hi. So a lot of times people that are learning a new language, they're like, oh, well, I'm not going to do this, that, or the other thing because the only thing that really works is immersion. And immersion means going someplace and living in the country, and that's the absolute only way to learn a language. But they're wrong. So I would like you to meet my new friend Jess, and she is going to tell us about how she found an immersion situation. Now, she didn't find an immersion situation, she made an immersion situation here in the States with the American Deaf.
Yes. Hello. So my mother worked with nonverbal autistic children when I was in elementary school. I was about 8 years old, and she needed to learn a little bit of sign language to communicate for functional communication. So my first 3 signs that I learned from her experience were yes, no, and chocolate. Because it was positive reinforcement. So if the students did something that was good, they got chocolate, they learned this is good. And they kept doing the good things. And then I thought, okay, that's cool. Put it to the wayside, just did my 8-year-old thing. And then next thing I know, I am in 5th grade, and my chorus teacher teaches us a song in sign, and it's a song called Shalom. I'm not going to do it. Don't bother asking me. She's already asked. I'm not doing it. No. Too bad. Too bad, so sad. That's one of my favorite things ever. TBSS. Too bad, so sad.
New sign for Nora.
Too bad, so sad. Like
TV, so sad.
TBSS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So then I was hooked. I was like, what is this? And then I was like, I'm dancing with my hands and I want to know more. This is amazing. So I went into the library and I found all the sign language books, threw them down on the table, and taught myself from a book. I don't suggest that. I do not suggest learning from a textbook.
Why not?
Because you need context. You need intonation from people's voices if it's a spoken language. You need to see what's going on in their face to figure out what's going on. You need to, context. Because you can have a word that sounds the same or looks the same, but it means so many different things, and you won't know how to use it until a certain situation. So, yeah, you may know the word have, but there's an example for sign language, like, oh, I have to go to the store. So there's have, as in you, like, I have a phone, or I have to go to the store, as in need. Not I have to go. What do you have about going to the... No, it's I have to go to the store. I need to go to the store. That sort of thing. So you can learn the word have, but not need until later. And you're like, oh, it's not I have to go to the store. It's I have to go. That sort of situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned what I could out of a book. Very limited. Very hard trying to figure out exactly where the arrows are going.
Yeah.
And then
so many arrows.
You're like, does my hand go here? Does it go there? I don't know. Point. Do not learn from a textbook. So then I had my moving up ceremony from elementary school to middle school. And I was in homeroom with my friend Megan. And actually, you are sitting in the correct position for me to tell the story. This is great. So we were in homeroom, and homeroom 6th grade. So my middle school was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So 6th grade, Megan's sitting next to me. We're in homeroom. Over in the corner is a TV. It has a PowerPoint for announcements. I see ASL Club. I'm just like, and Megan's like, what? And I'm like, she's like, what? And I'm like, ugh. And she's like, what? I'm like, ASL Club, you're coming with me. We're going, end of. Like, don't care. Not giving you any options. No. So we go to ASL Club, and I go every week for 3 years. I make friends with the deaf and hard of hearing students in my school. I go to, at this point, I am 11 years old. I go to deaf events every Friday. I go to the mall for silent dinner.
Seriously?
Mhm.
They do that in South Bend too.
That's
My deaf friend
awesome.
brought me to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard when you don't know how to sign much like me, but it's good.
But it's really good for your receptive skills, because then once you see it, you have that language input. Like, yeah, sure, it's like input flooding, but you see all this stuff, and like your brain is holding on to it whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
And then you learn the signs later, like, oh, that's what he was saying, and you can reflect on your past experiences, and it's really fun. And so I went every week to ASL Club. I went every week to silent dinners. I would hang out at my deaf friends' houses. We'd go swimming in their pools. I would communicate with them only in sign language. Like, I wouldn't use my voice with them. But some of them did choose to speak every once in a while, so I would actually help them with their English pronunciation. I remember I was at a vending machine, and my friend asked me how to say the word jalapeno.
Oh dear.
So like I got to help them say jalapeno. Okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to know a thing, I'm gonna help you with a thing. That's cool. And I wanted to be an interpreter since I was 11, and it wasn't I have a aha moment, like this is like an injustice that I need to correct, or oh, these poor deaf people. I do not help deaf people. Deaf people have helped me. If it wasn't for sign language, I would not feel capable. I would not feel smart. I would not be on my road to a master's degree. I would not have had the community in which I have found with these beautiful, beautiful people, and I would not have found as much as my identity as I have by being involved with these beautiful, beautiful people. So it was kind of like a career move for me. It was just like, here's the thing that you do. You can get paid to do that. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll do that. And it's been so rewarding. And then, so my friends from middle school went to high school with me, because my middle school and high school were really big mainstream programs. And we had like all the resources. We had note takers, we had interpreters, we had a resource room. Like, they cared about our deaf students. So I was still thoroughly involved, going to deaf events. I was part of it wasn't a sign choir, but it was ASL Club. We would go to our all-school assemblies, and we would sign the national anthem and the alma mater, the song. And then before that, when I was in middle school, that's when I started interpreting music, because in ASL Club we would pick apart songs and try to talk about what it all meant and the different meanings of messages and stuff, and not do word for word translations, but like look at like, again, context and like figure out what that means. So like from 11, so I just turned 30, so I've been interpreting music for like almost 20 years. And it's been an interesting ride. And so I was in sign choir, and I was just like really still involved, and it even got to the point where the ASL teacher at my high school was just like, why did you only take 1 year of ASL with me? Because, okay, I took French, German, Spanish, Japanese, and sign language.
This is why she's my friend. She's a kindred spirit.
We have like figured out that like Nora's like my aunt or something. Like, we're related somehow. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I was not able to take sign language until my senior year because I had scheduling conflicts. Because I can be involved, immersed in the deaf community and learn from the community, but there's only so many chances I have to take theater class and chorus class and fashion marketing that I'm just like, ASL class, you can go elsewhere. I'm always gonna have you. Like, I'm not getting rid of you. But finally my senior year, I took ASL class, and we had the teacher's deaf. We had 2 interpreters, and when they were busy, people came to me for help. So I was there to help people. I was there to help the poor hearing people. And I functioned as an interpreter for my hearing family because I ousted my mother's knowledge in ASL by the time I was like 12. And I just kept learning, and I just found a beautiful community, and I just never gave up, even when I thought that my life was going in a direction that was not going to have me achieve my dreams. Deaf people would show up at whatever job I was working at, and we would communicate in sign language, and then my heart would just like melt, and then they would leave, and then I would cry, and then I'd be like, why am I crying? Like, oh my gosh, this touched my heart. This is what I meant to do. And it always came back. So I guess, long story short, too late. You gotta make things happen. I was told by a professor of mine, shout out Kathleen Holcomb, love you, that I don't wait around for things to happen. I make things happen. I make them happen. And that was actually proven to me because of my networking skills and my getting into RIT, as I saw that I was living in a town that was about an hour and a half away from Rochester, New York, and I went to every event. I went to every open house, but I brought friends with me, so it didn't seem like I was that self-serving. FaceTime is important. And I just made sure that people knew who I was and what my motives were. And I am going to be graduating from RIT with my interpreting degree in December.
Yay! So you make things happen.
Yes.
You don't just sit around and say, oh, well, someday when I can go live in a country for 6 months, 3 months, a year, when I can go live in some deaf country, or when I can go to Gallaudet.
Right.
That's the only thing I can do is go hang out at Gallaudet.
Wrong.
Progress, not perfection.
Progress, not perfection.
Make things happen.
Make things happen.
Yeah. So Jess is a super example of making immersion happen, and the power of learning in relationships,
Yes.
and the way that fed you when you were having a life crisis too.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Same. Hey, thank you so much. If you guys have questions for Jess or for me, leave them in the comments. Please subscribe, and apparently if you click the little bell thing, then you get a notification when something comes up.
Turn on your notifications.
And yeah, ask questions. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.